What's going on out there, soul mapping family? Thank you so much for tuning in to your Astral Weather Report for August 9th, 2019. I'm Thomas, and the Astral Weather Report is where I synthesize aspects of astrology and the 64 hologenetic archetypes to give you a better idea of some of the energies that will be at play today, from the genetic all the way on up to the cosmic levels. And first of all, I want to say thanks everyone so much for tuning in. This is such a powerful and potent time of manifestation. We've been going through so many shifts and changes, and thanks to everyone bearing with me in this kind of like interesting space I'm in, just getting adjusted to traveling here, looking for some grounding up here soon. But I've just kind of been on this beautiful cosmic adventure, and so yeah, the videos have been a little bit different than normal. So thanks everyone for holding space for all that. Now, today, definitely going to feel a powerful shift as the moon's going to be coming into a conjunction with Jupiter. It's been making its way through Sagittarius now for a little bit. We also have the sun and earth moving on to the 7.5. Yeah, we're definitely going to feel a shift in this energy today. So for starters, with the sun on the 7.5, we're going to be really starting to look for these practical solutions really for all of this guidance that we've been receiving, right? So it's like we've been kind of in this divine flow of creativity and connection and tapping into how we can really lead ourselves in this new direction, perhaps connecting with how we can lead others and co-create as this sort of divine army kind of begins to manifest in one way or another. This has definitely been the message that we've been having coming in, where it's a lot of us in these sorts of spiritual communities, and those of us that are kind of on these missions and been traveling in this sort of flow of connecting to higher manifestation and timelines, and connecting to our own inner authority, or connecting with those other people that are on the path in these ways that are going to be very powerful for like ushering in new energies and timelines. And for those of us that are in the position of sharing, many of us have been feel called to start to provide guidance for others. The 7 is all about guidance, and we may feel today in one way or another that others can project onto us that we have that guidance that we need, and this can feel sort of uncomfortable at times, or we may be finally figuring out solutions for guidance that we've been seeking. This could be very much so where we're connecting with sorts of spiritual guides or intuitive guides or leaders that we feel powerfully connected to, that can kind of help us to co-create this vision and these new experiences that we want to have that are connected to our hearts. We have this yod that's forming, basically pointing all of this energy up into Leo, right? It's pointing for us to take this step in this vision that's going to be connected with channeling that energy that's from our heart, connecting with that inner child that can feel so divinely connected to everything flowing in the universe and this manifestation potential. And Venus is also on the 7, it's on the 7.4, so we're deeply connecting to the value of opportunities for us to give or receive guidance. But the alternative part of this, right, is because there are some interesting energies coming in from Saturn that is part of this yod, but it's also just kind of providing this sort of very interesting and sort of weird dynamic, right? Where Saturn is over there on the 54, and it can be making these interesting aspects appear where we could feel like this sort of like greed coming in, or just this energy trying to maybe like control the situation, or maybe feeling like it's maybe trying to shift us off of these timelines or one another, this sort of past cycles and interesting karma coming in the situation to where it feels like it's trying to throw us off, right? But the solution really at this time is to connect with that inner guidance or that higher level spiritual guidance, and really just surrender into this leap into the unknown in one way or another. This is such a potent time for the field that we have in this reality is so fertile for being accepting to planting seeds of manifestation, and as long as it's in connection with our deeper heart. It's like these sort of past cycles are coming in, and the way that this is presenting itself is like a few different timelines are coming in. So many pieces of the puzzle are coming in to see like what's going to be in this field of co-creation with everyone. And there's these big sets of timelines, or maybe even it just kind of looks like one particular timeline that we can obviously see as this repeated pattern. It's like this cycle that's kind of been playing over and over again, like a loop that is very much so stuck in like our old way of being. It's very dense and it's very like old world structure related. And we kind of know intuitively the way that it's going to go because we've lived it over and over again. But we have this other direction or other directions, right, that are opening up right now that maybe feel a bit scary because it's kind of the unknown and it's new. But what it's really asking for us is to step into that sovereign energy, to step into our own inner leader, to follow the guidance that's coming in from spirit or these higher levels, because it's connected to that inner heart that we have within, that sort of inner childlike bliss. Now, what's interesting though is Mars is on the 4.6 today, and it is going to be starting to be working through a lot of these different inner child wounds around the masculine and what we want to take action on. But Mars is about to get to the 29, which this is going to be a definite shift into this weekend where we have this kind of like important potent portal opening up. Now, we want to be careful when Mars moves under the 29 because we can have the tendency to really feel this overwhelming drive to take action and just say yes to maybe like anything and everything that's coming in. But with Mars moving on to the 29.1, we want to make sure that we're really investigating what it is that we want to take action on and say yes to, because the 29 is all about devotion and it's part of the experiential way. So it's like saying that we need to assess things, and we're looking at ways of going beyond just this inner childlike energy and starting to look to what we can really say yes to. And we've been figuring out how to formulate a plan and take action on these different things. And this weekend is really where we're going to see this sort of divine army of different connections really coming into play to give us this space and provide that fertile field, right? Because it's not just the energy around us, it's not just the world itself, it's also these interesting connections that are coming in to receive and to take part in everything, maybe having those pieces of the puzzle that we might not necessarily have just by ourselves, right? Now, lastly, the moon is going to be conjuncting with Jupiter, which is going to be a beautiful energy. We're moving through Sagittarius, and interestingly enough, it's conjuncting with Jupiter on the 5.4, which is all about really surrendering to cosmic timing, really having the patience, right? Because it's like there is this sort of interesting ceremonial type of thing at play this weekend, especially before we get into Monday and Tuesday. We'll have this major definite shift as Jupiter goes direct and Uranus goes retrograde, and this is this sort of interesting space that we're adding in, a little bit like a sort of timelessness in a way, where we have the opportunity to surrender to what's coming in and really ground in these different visions before we can kind of like gives us a space to really assess everything that's going on before we make this last leap. And we have this kind of choice not to take these past other timelines and kind of get into that same sort of stuck mode that's not going to serve us, or we can jump into this unknown that's really connected into our deepest heart. And yeah, it feels super potent to me, and I'm glad that I can provide my own guidance for anyone and everyone out there that maybe feel called to accept it. And thank you so much for tuning in to the Astral Weather Report, and tap into your own innermost authority and see if it feels right for you. And thanks for tuning in.